Hello, everyone. The war in Ukraine has caused the German government to collapse. So what actually happened, and how severe is this collapse? Let's find out together. As you may not know, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz leads a coalition of three parties: the Social Democratic Party, the Free Democratic Party, and the Green Party. Previously, the Chancellor came from the Free Democratic Party, but to take the position, these three parties joined forces in what is known as the Traffic Light Coalition, which enabled Olaf Scholz to become Chancellor. Without this coalition, none of the parties would have had enough seats in the parliament to establish a leader. Simply put, one stick alone breaks easily, but three sticks bound together are unbreakable. And this coalition allowed Olaf to take the top seat. However, unity brings strength only when the coalition is harmonious. Otherwise, it leads to failure. Recently, the coalition began facing issues, and it was this internal conflict that led to the German government's collapse. In this coalition, Olaf serves as chancellor, as you know. Next in line is Lindner, the finance minister. When the war in Ukraine broke out, Germany provided extensive financial support to Ukraine, depleting its treasury. Now, with no money left to spend, the chancellor proposed to the parliament that he needed to expand the debt limit to secure more funds. To illustrate, imagine your household earns $1 billion a year, with a debt cap allowing a maximum of $800 million in loans. If you exceed this limit, the interest becomes unmanageable, and it's uncertain how you'd repay the debt. So your family caps the borrowing to avoid financial ruin. Germany works similarly, capping its debt at about 80% of GDP. Now that it has reached the limit, what can it do? Without borrowing, there's no money to spend, but borrowing would break the cap. The chancellor suggested raising the debt ceiling to continue supporting Ukraine. In parliament, the finance minister Lindner from the Free Democratic Party, one of the three parties in the Traffic Light Coalition, strongly opposed this move. He argued that increasing the debt limit was unacceptable, as it's unclear how they would repay. Lindner's perspective is that supporting Ukraine is valid, but raising the debt solely to fund support for Ukraine isn't wise when Germany itself has pressing needs to address. As a result, the chancellor became angry and immediately dismissed the finance minister, accusing him of neglecting the people's needs. From the finance minister's point of view, his duty was to manage the country's finances, so he wanted to be as frugal as possible, use funds wisely, and prioritize investment in Germany's development. His stance is similar to that of Trump in the U.S., advocating that Germany must focus on its own issues first. Meanwhile, Chancellor Olaf's viewpoint is closer to Biden's, believing that if Ukraine isn't supported and Russia wins, Germany could be at risk. Therefore, Olaf argues that Ukraine supplies the manpower, so Germany should contribute financially and militarily to resist Russia. Essentially, at the national leadership level, each has their viewpoint, and it's hard to determine who is right or wrong. Only time will reveal what the best course of action truly is. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Please support my channel. See you soon. Recently, the Justice Minister from the Social Democratic Party also resigned, and the Social Democratic Party withdrew from the coalition. Now the three-party coalition has collapsed, leaving only two parties. However, a two-party coalition lacks enough seats in parliament to legitimately lead the country. Thus, Chancellor Olaf's government is no longer legally viable. Imagine a three-legged table losing a leg. Naturally, the table collapses. What's next for Germany? According to protocol, Parliament will hold a confidence vote, and the Chancellor has decided to schedule it for January 2020. If he secures the necessary votes, he will continue until the end of his term, with early elections taking place 6 months ahead, in March 2025. If the Chancellor forms a new coalition, he could win another term. However, other party leaders disagree with this decision. For example, the leader of the Independent Democratic Party opposes it, arguing that the government shouldn't be left in limbo for so long. Waiting from November until January is too lengthy, especially when ministers have resigned, creating difficulties for the country. Business leaders also want the government to stabilize quickly because the German economy is facing challenges. German businesses are grappling with high production costs, making it hard to compete with Asian competitors like South Korea, Japan, and China. Therefore, businesses need a unified government to help them compete internationally. The economy is already struggling, and government discord makes things even harder. The political crisis following the German government's collapse comes at a critical moment for Germany, as the economy grapples with stagnation, aging infrastructure, and an unprepared military. Economists warn that the collapse of the ruling coalition could negatively impact consumer spending and investment in Germany in the near future. However, the German government's collapse at this time might also be beneficial in the long term. Elections and a new government could bring an end to this stagnation, offering clear and stable policies moving forward. It's like an old, crumbling house. Rather than constantly patching it up, it may be better to let it fall and rebuild. The question is, will Chancellor Olaf be re-elected? With the rise of both left and right-wing populist parties in Germany and across Europe, forming a unified majority coalition is no simple feat. The collapse of the three-party alliance has caused the German government to fall, leaving a power vacuum at the heart of the European Union, just when Europe needs unity to tackle global issues. In the grand scheme, Germany is Europe's leading nation. If Germany faces difficulties, all of Europe could be affected. Moreover, with Trump possibly returning as U.S. president, it's uncertain how he will treat Europe. If he repeats his previous policies, Europe could face even more pressure from the U.S. So, will the German chancellor weather this storm? Will Germany rise back stronger or continue to decline? Let's wait and see. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again soon.